The card declines at 7:43 p.m. on a Tuesday. Groceries, $47. You try it twice. The cashier does not look at you. You look at the line behind you. You put back the orange juice. You pay $31 in cash. You walk to your car. You sit in it for 4 minutes before starting it. You are 26 years old. You have $19 in your checking account. Your rent is due in 6 days. This is the broke phase, not the romantic kind. Not the college broke where it's temporary and everyone around you is the same. The adult kind. The kind with consequences that compound. The kind where $19 is not a story you'll tell later. It is a problem you have to solve before Friday. Every life at every level moves between these two states. Rich and broke are not destinations, they are phases. They visit the same person at different times, sometimes in the same year. What changes is not the person. What changes is the structure underneath them. And most people never learn to see the structure. They only feel the phases. This is what each phase actually looks like from the inside. The broke phase. $19 in the account. You know exactly how much money you have at all times. This is not a skill. It is a symptom. Broke people track money with precision because the number is small enough to memorize and consequential enough to monitor constantly. You know your account balance the way you know the temperature outside. Automatically, without trying, you have 3 bills due in the next 10 days. You have calculated which one you can delay. You have thought through whether the late fee is cheaper than the overdraft fee. You have made this calculation before. You are efficient at it now. That efficiency is one of the quiet costs of this phase, the mental overhead. The constant, low-level arithmetic running beneath everything else. A tax on attention that doesn't show up on any statement. You are not irresponsible. That is the thing nobody tells you. Broke is not a character flaw. Broke is a cash flow problem. Income arrives in intervals. Expenses do not wait for the intervals. The gap between when money comes in and when money goes out is where broke lives. You are managing the gap. You have been managing the gap for 2 years. You tell no one. You post normally. You decline invitations with plausible reasons. You become skilled at the social camouflage of financial stress. The skill itself costs something. Pretending requires energy. Energy spent pretending is energy not spent solving. You solve it anyway. A payment plan, an extra shift. A small transfer from a person who does not make it feel like charity. The gap closes. Temporarily, you exhale. You go back to managing the first stable phase. $2,400 left after bills. It arrives without announcement. A raise, a job change. A reduction in a fixed cost. Something shifts and suddenly the account does not reach zero before the next deposit. You have $2,400 left at the end of a month, and you do not know what to do with it because your entire financial psychology was built around survival. You spend it, not recklessly, quietly, meals you had been skipping, clothes you had been delaying, a weekend trip, things that feel like rewards and function as consumption. By month 3, the $2,400 is gone every month, and you cannot identify exactly where it went. This is the trap of the first stable phase. The money is real. The habits were built in scarcity. Scarcity habits in a stability environment produce spending, not accumulation. The brain spent 2 years reading $2,400 surplus as safe to exhaust because zero was the baseline it normalized to. You don't accumulate, you decompress. The decompression costs exactly as much as the surplus. You are no longer broke. You are also not building anything. You are in the most dangerous phase, comfortable enough to stop solving, not stable enough to actually be stable. One unexpected expense away from the gap returning, you stay here longer than you should. Most people do the broke phase. The second time, different circumstances, you are 34, you own a home, you have a title. You have $11,000 in a savings account that you watch carefully because it is the only thing between your life and a very different version of your life. The business you started 18 months ago is not dead. It is also not working yet. You pulled $6,000 from the savings last month. You will pull more this month. The runway is calculating itself in your head without your permission. At current burn, you have 4 months. Maybe 5 if a receivable clears. This is not the $19 in the account broke. This is a different architecture of the same problem. Cash flow, the gap between when money comes in and when it must go out. The gap does not care that you have a title or a mortgage or employees who are depending on the thing working. You lie awake running numbers that you have already run. The numbers don't change at 2 a.m., you run them anyway. This is not irrationality. This is the mind refusing to accept that the situation is as constrained as it is. The first broke phase, you had no assets and no income. You managed the gap. This broke phase, you have assets and obligation. The gap is larger. The consequences are more distributed. 3 people on your payroll don't know how close the thing is. You keep it that way, you show up, you make decisions, you manage the gap again. The savings account reaches $3,200. You make a call you didn't want to make. A short-term credit facility, 14.9%, you do the math. You take it anyway, because the alternative is closure and closure has a different cost. Broke at 34 is not the same story as broke at 26. The number is similar, the weight is different. You know more now. Knowing more does not make it easier. It makes it more precise. Precise suffering is still suffering. The phase that looks like rich but isn't. You are 39. The business survived. It is now $4.2 million in annual revenue. You pay yourself $280,000. Your home has appreciated. Your net worth on paper is $1.8 million. You feel wealthy. People around you treat you as wealthy. You speak with confidence about money in rooms where 2 years ago you would have been quiet. The posture of wealth arrived before the structure of wealth. This is the most deceptive phase. Your $280,000 salary is taxed to approximately $168,000 take home. Your mortgage, 2 car payments, private school for 2 children, and a lifestyle that expanded proportionally to the income consumes $14,200 per month. You have $2,800 left, slightly more than the first stable phase, significantly more complexity. The business is the asset. The business is also the liability. If the business stops, the income stops. You are entirely dependent on a single revenue-generating system that you control, which means you work inside the asset rather than holding the asset from outside it. The distinction is the difference between a business that serves your life and a business that is your life. You are rich in appearance, constrained in structure. The $1.8 million net worth is largely a liquid. The monthly surplus is real but not large enough to change the structure. You are managing a more expensive version of the gap from a position that looks nothing like it from the outside. You know this. You start building a second income stream, slowly, correctly. This is the phase where most people either break through or plateau permanently. The deciding variable is not income. It is whether they stop spending the surplus before it accumulates into something structural. The actual wealthy phase. The structure changes. You are 47. The business was acquired 3 years ago. Post-tax proceeds were $3.8 million. Combined with savings, investments, and a commercial property you purchased in year 6 of the business, your liquid net worth is $5.1 million. The phase feels different because the structure is different, not because the number is large. Because the income is no longer attached to your time. The commercial property generates $14,800 per month. The investment portfolio at a 4% distribution generates $11,400 per month. Combined, $26,200 per month arrives without requiring your presence. Your expenses are $18,000 per month. You have $8,200 in surplus that compounds into more income the following month without any effort beyond the effort already made. This is the structure. This is what was always on the other side of the number, not a bigger salary, assets that earn while you sleep. The gap is now working in reverse. Income exceeds expenses regardless of whether you work. The broke phase was the gap threatening you. This phase is the gap serving you. Same mechanism, opposite direction. What surprises you is how quiet it is. No announcement, no ceremony. 1 month the math simply works without intervention and keeps working the following month. You check the accounts less because the checking no longer changes anything. The anxiety that lived in the account balance for 20 years is gone. You notice its absence the way you notice silence after noise stops. You are not free of problems. You have different problems: estate planning, tax exposure, whether the asset allocation is correctly structured for what comes next. These are real problems. They are better problems. You know the difference now. You have lived both kinds. The broke phase. The third time, a different person now. You are 53. A medical event. 18 months of income interrupted. The business you started after the acquisition fails in year 2. A divorce that restructures everything. The specifics are yours. The math is universal. Assets exit the picture faster than they entered it. The liquid net worth is $880,000, down from $5.1 million. The income from assets is $2,900 per month. Your expenses are $7,400 per month. The gap is back. Different shape, same architecture. What is different this time is that you know the structure. You know what broke is at the level of mechanism rather than at the level of feeling. You know the gap can be closed. You know the assets can be rebuilt. You know the timeline is longer than you want it to be and shorter than it feels. You are 53 and broke, and you have built wealth once from nothing. The building is not the mystery this time. The building is just work. Specific, methodical, patient work. You start. Again, the account is at $880,000. Low, not zero, not $19. You have context now that the 26-year-old in the grocery store parking lot did not have. The context does not make it easy. It makes it navigable. These are different things and the difference matters. Somewhere tonight, a card is declining. $47, groceries, orange juice going back on the shelf, and somewhere else tonight a statement is loading. $26,200 this month from assets. While the person slept, both people woke up this morning, both checked their phones, both thought about money before they got out of bed. The difference between them is not intelligence, not effort, not character, it is structure, the presence or absence of assets that earn independent of time, and the knowledge acquired early or late or painfully or systematically of how to build that structure. The broke phase does not mean the wealthy phase is impossible. The wealthy phase does not mean the broke phase cannot return. Both are phases. The structure is the only thing that is not a phase. Build the structure. Everything else is weather. The card declines. The statement loads. Somewhere between these two moments is an entire life. The question has always been the same one. Which direction is the gap moving, and what are you doing about it today?